The Chinese like to say that he who hasn't climbed the Great Wall is not a real man. It is relatively simple to take a stroll along the wall, which is easily accessible from Beijing. But a senior Australian woman has taken the challenge to an extreme. Over the past 6 years, she has trekked over 3,000 kilometers along the Great Wall. The route took in most of the mighty structure's length, and she plans to cover its remaining distance in a forthcoming trip. It all arose from a promise she made. Sylvia Burgess-Morrows started her ambitious trek along the Great Wall in 2008. Walking on the foot of the Ming Dynasty's Sanguan Coast section of the wall in northwest China's Ningxia Autonomous Region, Sylvia was unable to control her excitement at seeing the expansive view, despite having been here for research before. Although now 69 years old, the French-Australian's appearance seems to have been kept fresh by her Great Wall dream.
The feeling when I found it, it was like you find a friend again, you know. So I always feel very comfortable. When the wall was there, I was fine. Because I know it goes from west to east, so you can't get lost.
Sylvia was born in Spain and grew up in France. At the age of 21, she immigrated to Australia. She was active in the gemstone business, mining, tourism, restaurant operation, and nursing. Quite a rich life, but no connection with the Great Wall. The magic turning point came in 1999 when she met a patient while doing volunteer work at a hospital for Alzheimer's disease.
This man had Alzheimer's, and he had been to China, and he was telling me about China. And one day he was very depressed. He was very upset because he realized he was going to lose his memory, and he was very upset about that. So I tried to find many ways to stop him from crying, and I was not succeeding.
Sylvia found the patient only calmed down when mentioning the Great Wall. It was then that she hatched her grand plan.
I said to him, Max, if you stop crying, I will walk the Great Wall of China. And then he looked at me and he said, you would do that for me? I said, yes, why not? So that actually did the trick and stopped him from crying and depression. Then we begin to talk about China and the Great Wall.
Sylvia determined to carry out the patient's dream of hiking the Great Wall and raise money for Alzheimer's patients. Unfortunately, the project was put on hold when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. For Sylvia, time and her illness may have weathered her skin, but not the enthusiasm to fulfill her promise. After recovery, she decided to undertake the challenge to complete the work independently. In preparation, Sylvia completed specialist first aid courses, as well as wilderness navigation training. She also worked 7 days a week to raise funds. In 2007, she came to China to research 5 provinces traversed by the wall, designed the route, and made a very detailed schedule. Sylvia called the project the Olympic Challenge, for her hiking tour started right before the 2008 Beijing Olympics. She still remembered how shocked she was when she arrived in northwest China's Gansu province and set out from the Yumen Pass built in the Han Dynasty. The magnificent landscape and solemn history immediately made her understand the impression the wall had had on her patient.
It was amazing. I thought it was quite
rare.
The first Great Wall I saw was the Han Wall in the very west, near Yumenguan. There is a long stretch of Han Wall there. It was really, I've seen that in pictures, but to see it in real, it was totally different.
Sylvia said that she never felt lonely when walking along in the vast space. The Great Wall often made her imagine the ancient workers who built this longest structure in the world, soldiers that fought bravely against enemies, and merchants who did business along the Silk Road. On the way, Sylvia has developed a habit of lighting candles to honor those in whose footsteps she walks.
I always think about the hard work of the people who actually build these walls all along. And I think it's incredible that's still there after all these years. So when I walk in 2008, I carry some candles, little candles, So every 100 kilometers, I try to light a candle. Sometimes I forgot, so I lit 2 or 3 at the same time.
Though Sylvia had planned in great detail, there were still many difficulties to overcome. Temperatures along the wall can vary from -10 to over 40 degrees centigrade. She once ran out of water in the Gobi Desert. At other points, she got serious blisters and met terrible sandstorms. Carrying luggage as heavy as 40 kilograms, Sylvia hiked about 25 kilometers per day. In order to save time and money, she put all the necessities in, including a sleeping bag, blanket, compass, first aid kit, water and food. Luckily, she learned to make friends with people along the route. She likes visiting the local people's houses. Though she can't speak Chinese and sometimes the farmers are even afraid to see a foreigner, she has found smiling to be the best language for communication. Sylvia is always touched by locals' hospitality.
I really feel 100% comfortable. I feel like it's my home too, you know. I camp there, I stay with farmers, I slept with the local people, I was in villages, and everywhere I was welcome.
During the journey, Sylvia visited many remote villages and recorded the lives of ordinary people by the wall. She took photos of everything she encountered and posted them on a blog. In her eyes, these small villages are more attractive than big cities. Local people, even the dishes they cook, have become part of the Great Wall.
I find a lot of villages, actually some places are quite beautiful and some prime position for the Great Wall. But these places are so undeveloped. They have no garbage collection, they have no toilet, there's no toilets at all. So the villagers just go out. So I think I would like to do something for these villages and try to bring some business for them by bringing tourists in those places. It's going to be a big job, but I'm quite prepared for the challenge.
After spending such a long period along the Great Wall in 2 separate spells over the past 6 years, Sylvia has become emotionally connected to it. She repeatedly emphasizes that what she does is for neither fame nor money, but for more people to know the Great Wall and to know China. To protect the heritage, she gently reminds travelers of the maxim, "Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, kill nothing but time."
I hope people start realizing that they must protect it and they must just preserve it. This is Chinese heritage. This is something that's so unreal, you know, and so big. You know, if everybody takes 1 stone of the wall, there was a little boy today taking a stone. It was nothing, but it's 1.4 billion people in China. If everybody takes 1 stone, the wall will disappear.
Sylvia has covered the more than 3,000 kilometers in 2 separate spells. Recently, she has come back for a recce of Ningxia to prepare to trek this last leg. She hopes to arrive in Beijing next year, having walked the entire length of the wall and in time for her 70th birthday on November the 4th. That could truly mark a happy ending to this Great Wall pilgrimage.
I want to depart start in March, and I want to reach Beijing for my 70th birthday next year, November. If I can't do that, I can die any day. It's okay.
Sylvia has made her mark in the history of the Great Wall, and the letter has also left its stamp on her physically and mentally. In her poem entitled My Last Wish, Sylvia wrote that when the time comes for me to go, it's to the Gobi I want to go, to join those many of long ago who lost their bodies but souls remain, those of brave soldiers, those of warlords, of great war builders, and many more.